Hey everyone, Kolz here. So today I'm going to do an account review based on what I'm kind of like grinding for, what I think is a lot of fun in the game right now, and the impact of 340 on myself. Last week I was sick and I feel like I didn't do it justice. I actually got comments saying that I didn't give enough analysis on 340, and I think that's actually fair. The patch notes were so long, I didn't go into a ton of detail on a bunch of stuff. At a high level, the 340, after like having done it now for, I guess, like 5 days, what I think happened, at least for someone at my level of the game, was that my account got weaker, I think, on an account level, but I have certain heroes now that are significantly stronger than they were pre-patch. I think that's actually a fairly common kind of result of this patch. I personally lost something like 17 globals. So I strategically picked what I thought were the best heroes for their globals and leveled them up to 120. So like I tried to keep all the cooldowns. I tried to keep any penetration from like energy mage. I actually wanted a couple of armor so that in nightmare mode I have a little bit more armor. But everybody else kind of I don't have right now, which is kind of like plus damage or plus regeneration or plus pushback or plus something that like wasn't vital to kind of like making me feel stronger on an individual hero level, but were like good to have. I think what happened is now, like, if I want to go play Lionheart, for example, Lionheart is weaker. So, like, all of these guys that are sub 120, probably on the margins are going to be weaker than they were beforehand because they lost access to all those globals. However, up top, where I got a couple of heroes to 4 stars for the first time, so Barbarian, Bunny, and then moving all these heroes from 2 to 3 stars, like Werebeast and Warlord. I think he was already a 3, but Energy Mage, those kind of guys. Those guys got stronger. So anyone that I had that went from like 2 to 3 stars to 3 to 4 stars, they're stronger. But my like remaining 20 something heroes down here at the bottom, they got weaker because they lost access to some of the globals. Now, they did get access to faction bonuses. Faction bonuses to me were something that just like was never going to happen. I had basically thought that getting to 3-star heroes was going to be as hard as I can go, and I had like written off faction bonuses because at 4 stars it wasn't going to happen. But that's my high level summary, is that I feel like my account got slightly weaker, but for sure there are certain heroes that got a massive boost. And so I'm just trying to use those heroes more. Kind of like what I'm using them towards is boss brawl. So right now, the piece of content that I think is like the most fun, the most entertaining, given that nightmare mode really hasn't had any content in like a month, is like, how do I get better at boss brawl? 340, how do I make myself as strong as possible for boss brawl? So I'm going to walk you through that kind of thinking and how I'm approaching my account. So the first thing to note is that I'm at all mythic gear. The thing that I need to do is just get to heroic. Like if I want to start competing, I'm like number 200 usually. If I want to crack top 100, I need all heroic gear. So I'm putting all of my free time that I can in terms of like resources into grinding for gear. I am now up to 2,000 silver chests and 594 golden chests. I have a tool that I'll show here. I think Mario VX created it, one of the old OG creators. But it shows you how many hard mode runs you need to complete in order to finish getting heroic gear. I need to get this up to like 10,000 silver chests and 2,000 gold chests. So I'm about 25% of the way to heroic. So I'm putting all of my free energy into trying to get heroic gear. A big boost with 340 for that was Santa. The fact that Santa's inherent gold chance went from 3% to 5% is huge. Like that 2% matters a lot. Plus the faction bonus. So we got an additional 3% to gold chance net. That seems small, but it's huge. So using that calculator, it's going to save me something like 200 to 300 runs, which at like 5 or 10 minutes a run is like 24 hours of grinding. So that seems really small, but this is like the power of Santa. Santa is so huge now because you get that 5% at 140 and the 1% at 90. Plus his Forge is another 5%. That's 11 percentage point increase to your gold key chance. That takes me from 15% to 26%, which you just can't get that gold key chance any other place. And that 11% is saving me something like 100 to 200 hours of grinding. I mean, it's crazy how important it is to have Santa if you're trying to get up to heroic gear. So that's my goal number 1 for boss brawl, is get heroic gear, and that I feel like is going pretty well. I'm like 3 or 4 months away from current grind pace, and so I'm gonna have a fun video when I open up all 10,000 silver keys and 22,000 gold keys and jump up to heroic. Okay, on the pet side of things, so pets are kind of interesting. 340 did make a giant change to pets. Right now, I'm like so close to getting Crystal Source up to 4-star. I technically could do it, but I don't know if I want to sacrifice a level 300 Griffin at this point for it. I'm kind of having to like get rid of 2 of my rare pets in order to get him up to 4, and I don't know if I want to do that. I'll probably have to sacrifice one of these griffins, but it'll be all right. But that's that step there. So that feels like it'll be incrementally more powerful. This is not one of my top priorities, getting Crystal Saurus up to 500, but it'll be something I'm going to do in the background. It is like a very clear way to make your account stronger. It's just like have a stronger pet. Crystal Saurus is very strong, especially in Nightmare mode, like fantastic for Nightmare mode. And Boss Brawl, I can't actually see a huge difference between Basilisk and Crystal Saurus right now, but I'm assuming that Crystal Saurus at a higher level will outdamage Basilisk in Boss Brawl, which again is kind of like mentally where I'm focused. On my weapon collection side, so I am Forge token starved. As soon as I get Forge tokens, use them each week. And right now I'm building up towards 5-star boar. I got Warlord in this in like those events a couple like months ago at this point. So I got Warlord up to 2-star Forge, so that was 2 weeks, and this is at 3 stars, so this is like 3.5 weeks. So like over the last 5.5 weeks, I got Warlord to 2 stars. And now I'm working on getting Boar up all the way to 5 stars before I go back and get Warlord up to 5 stars. Warlord is going to end up being kind of my late game carry for hard mode arena, and then he'll be good in Boss Brawl too. And then, see, that's the problem here, is once I get Boar up to 5 stars, I'm torn because Assassin is awesome in Boss Brawl. And I already have Assassin at a 3-star Forge. And so I'm debating whether or not I get Warlord up to 5-star for use in hard mode arena, or get Assassin up to 5-star for Boss Brawl. And I haven't made that decision yet, but I'm just like Forge starved. And so like that's just like each week is a trade-off for me and what I put my Forge tokens into. And every 2 weeks or so I get stronger via Forge tokens. But I'm in that mode now where like, okay, I'm at the point in the game where I have all my base weapons kind of like 5-star eventually, all the important ones. And so I have to just mentally figure out, okay, which weapon am I going to get up to 5-star? And Boar is just the most across the board effective for Boss Brawl, for Nightmare mode, for everything. Just a fantastic weapon. And so that's a clear, like, get that one to 5 stars. And then it's going to be like, okay, which heroes do I want to get to 5-star Forges? On the talent side, I feel like my talents are really solid. I'm at 862. I'm missing like 2 revive rages and then health. So talents to me aren't super important right now. If basically whatever happens, the way I think about it is when I get about to double my gold. So if I get to like 400 million gold, I'll buy a talent. And revive rage is the only one that I need, and that would help a lot for Boss Brawl. Every additional second of revive rage in Boss Brawl is big. So that would probably up my damage a bunch there. But I'm just kind of throwing in extra coins. Because right now, what I need to do is save all of my coins and my orbs to try and get these heroes up and get my globals back. That's where the big kind of like day-to-day grind is going. It's like just one step at a time. Can I get this Frost Mage guy up to 120? So I can get him up, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels. Woo! That was like 2 days of grinding to get him up 5 levels. This is what 3.40 did. It basically shifted my priority in grinding from hard mode 1 for pure keys to toxic jungle 140 with Santa to mix in keys and 100 hero orbs. Because those extra 100 hero orbs each time add up over the course of like a day or two. Right? If I'm doing 10, 15 runs a day, that's 1,500 orbs. That's like see here, it's like 2 levels. I will say, as part of this release, they were super generous on the skill books. For the skill books, they didn't like wipe you out. They just gave you all of your skill books back. Like I still have 2-star barbarian or level 2 barbarian on all of these. I didn't actually put the skills in post patch. These were pre-patch. And so I just had I was just gifted like 400 skill books and like maybe 150 ultimate books, which are huge. These are really hard to get, and they're less valuable now because you need fewer of them in order to skill up, but they're still very, very valuable. A super generous way of letting you update your skills for your heroes, upgrade your skills for your heroes. Because again, this is like how you make individual heroes incredibly strong. Like having Warlord at 333 here makes him like twice as strong as having everything at 222. Like you can see it here, right? It went from 390 to 77, 17 to 19, and 1419. So you're literally doubling his power with these additional skills. And I already had all the 2s unlocked, so I didn't have to go back and put in like the skill books needed to get them from 0 to 2. And then the shard improvement I think is also like incredibly helpful for your heroes that were able to get a star up. Because again, like I was never getting Barbarian to 4-star. Honestly, I was never going to get Warlord to 4-star, but they're going to get there now. It's just going to take me a while. Do Faction Wars. Faction Wars was already, I think, in a good spot. Said this in the other video, but now it's an incredibly great value. So make sure you do Faction Wars. It's going to feel slow, but in a year, it will pay off, and you will have a bunch of 4-star incredibly strong heroes. So do Faction Wars. This game is a grind. do the faction war grind, it will benefit you. So if they were kind of like generous on the skill book and the shard side, they were just not the new thing here. And it's very clear, like, this is how they're going to make money from it, is hero orbs, right? Like, this didn't exist pre-patch, and now it does. Buying like a ton of hero orbs. This is like the new deal here, is like you're gonna have to grind a lot for hero orbs, and that's the trade-off. So you're gonna have stronger individual heroes, but to get your account back to the same kind of like overall feeling power level, you're gonna need to grind the crap out of hero orbs. At this point, I put all my guild tokens into dust, so I'm trying to level up my jewels. I feel like a level 9 ultimate charge and level 7 ultimate duration is good enough with my guild points, so everything else is going into just straight dust to try and get the rest of these jewels up. So that's where I am on the jewel front, is just throwing dust, as much dust as I can from guild events into jewels. And yeah, I think I'm a pretty standard late game player at VIP 7 after a year. Right, so you can imagine in one more year where I'll be, if I keep up like this level of grind, 7,000 more runs, I will have full heroic by then, and I will have, gotten more free-to-play heroes along the way. I will finish this grind to get my globals up, and I'll have a couple of more 4-star heroes. Looking at me, I am done with all of the hard mode, normal mode content. VIP 7, I've spent $400 over what is now basically a year, right? When my 303 days in, I should have spent less. But that's where I am. I have done 7,600 runs, cleared all of Faction Wars, every adventure except for Necromancer. So this game is a grind. Wave always says, like, I've just been playing longer than you, and so that's why he is where he is. Right, he's top 10 player in the game, and so if you just put in the time, eventually, right, this game kind of rewards you for all the small individual grinds, and it helps to spend money. It makes basically that you can trade off time for money. I'm in a top 10 guild, right? So like you can see here, like technically it says number 3 makes you feel good, but we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're number 7. So like that's great. There are 4 guilds that have completed 4 guilds now that completed all the content. Most people in my guild have completed a bunch of content, right? Like most people here are doing one. Everyone else is kind of like, catching up, doing their thing. Cakery is awesome. I highly recommend joining the Cakery. It is a lot of fun. The Discord is incredibly active. Everyone is super helpful. There's no hotheads like Ultima out there, so that's my dig at Ultima all the time, right? It's always fun to make fun of the top guild. But Cakery is like you can come in, ask questions. People are there to help you. There are no dumb questions. Like people, we want all of our guilds to be successful and everyone help out, right? So big fan of the Cakery. Come join that if you want. We're recruiting, I think, for some lower level guilds. Once you get in the game, join an active guild. It's so much more fun to be in an active guild than not an active guild. I can tell you from personal experience. But that's where I am. So that's my account review. Let me know if you like this. I have a couple other people that are willing to do their endgame account reviews, and they have like all heroic gear. You can get a sense of like what they're trying to accomplish next. A lot of people are like grinding beastery, right? Like that's like a small thing that like I'm not there yet. Not worried about that yet. But like when you hit like end game content, which you start thinking about. I also like to have someone that's like new to the game. If you want to like have me walk through your account and let you know how you can maybe make it better, I'm happy to bring you on and we can do an account review. So let me know in the comments if that would be fun. And again, I'm Kolz. I'm a high-level HVH player. You can find me here on Reddit or on Discord. Feel free to ask me questions. I'm happy to answer them. Also, check out my website, hvhlounge.com. Or you can join my Patreon in order to become an executive producer. Cake Invictus is the current executive producer. And remember, always do your adventures.